All right. Hey, Megan, how are you?
I'm good. How are you doing?
Doing great. Thank you. Thank you for coming on the show. Nice to have you here.
Thank you for having me.
So, Super Bloom, which is an interesting title. Where'd that come from?
Yeah, so Super Bloom is about the title comes from the wildflower seeds that lie dormant in deserts. And it just so happens that super blooms are happening right now in California as the book is coming out, which is just incredible. And I heard about super blooms, I think in 2018 when they were happening in Death Valley, California. I had listened to an NPR story, and I've been working on my novel for a few years already. It didn't have a great title, and I thought, what are these super blooms I'm hearing about? I ran to my computer, I looked it up, and I saw all these wildflowers that had been waiting for the right conditions to bloom. They were so bright that you could see them from space. And I thought that is the metaphor for my character Joan, who's been struggling for many years and has this dormant potential coiled inside her, just like a seed that's been waiting to bloom. And so I just knew instantly that that was the title for my book and the sort of through line that I had been looking for.
Because I know Super Bloom from the desert living in Las Vegas. And yeah, it's a great metaphor for love, isn't it?
It really is. It's a great metaphor for so many things. This idea that we have this dormant potential. My character Joan was a writer when she was young, and she pushed down that passion and that talent, thinking, who am I to write a novel and who am I to be a writer? And so she pushed it aside and really, as the book progresses, begins to look at that again and discover that that's been kind of waiting under the surface, sort of just like these seeds that wait for the right conditions to bloom. And I really believe that we all have that inside of us. I think I did as I began to say to myself and to my, family and community, I think I want to write a novel. I think we all have that. So it was really quite perfect.
Let me ask you a little bit about you. It says that you are a writer and editor who runs the company WordLift. Tell me about WordLift.
Yes, so I have a journalism background and I was a freelance writer and journalist for many years. Then I worked at a nonprofit for a few years and I came out of that experience and I saw that there was a lot of bad copy around, people who were great at their own professions but didn't know how to write about what they did. And they tried it for themselves on their websites or their brochure copy and it didn't come across well. And I thought, I could do that better. I'm going to start this business called Word Lift, meaning I can lift up your words, I can elevate them. I have a lot of experience interviewing people and getting at the heart of the story and what they do. So that really helped me begin to tell my clients' stories. So that's what I've done for over 10 years. And I do website copy, brochure copy, and I work for alumni publications. And I've been really fortunate that my whole professional career has been steeped in words and writing, which meant that even though it took me a while to write this novel, it took 8 years, that I had a really solid background in sort of sentence structure and just words.
When you say that you're going to lift the words for people, you're not doing ghostwriting for them, right? You're just sort of more of an editor for them, or just brushing up the
Yeah.
grammar and the structure for them so it doesn't sound so wordy and yeah.
Yeah, exactly. I'm not necessarily a ghostwriter, but someone might come to me and say, I have this business. I'm trying to say this. I can't figure out how to say it. And I will, help craft those sentences for them. And in some cases, people bring me copy they already have, and then I tweak it. And in some cases, it's a clean slate, and I'm creating it from scratch. So I do both.
Did you do your own editing for Super Bloom?
Oh gosh, no. I mean, along the way, yes, but I also then had a few freelance editors take a look at it. I had a writing group. I have beta readers and friends read it. And then when I sold it to Zibby Books, I had an editor from Zibby Books who edited it with me, and she was amazing. Gave me incredible feedback and real nuggets, sort of like 9 areas to focus on that totally elevated the manuscript.
Well, I'm happy to hear that because since you were doing that as a profession, you might get the idea that, oh, I can edit my own, which is like the worst mistake that any author can make is to edit their own, no matter how good you might be, right?
Oh, yeah. And when you're in your own novel, no matter who you are, it's hard to get that 10,000 foot view, that high up view of what's working and what's not. In fact, I had some feedback. I was getting a lot of interest from agents who were reading my first few chapters, but then would ultimately decide not to represent me. So something wasn't working. And I actually hired a freelance editor, book editor. And I said, look, I'm getting people's interest early on. Something's not working toward the middle end of the novel, and I can't see it because I've been steeped in it for so long. And that was so invaluable. She was able to say, here's where I think it's breaking down. And I couldn't see it for myself at that point. And that was so helpful.
Let me switch over to the book a little bit. I don't want to give it all away. We want people to buy the book after all, so I don't want to talk too much in depth about the book, about the actual story, but we can sort of talk around it to give people a teaser or a trailer, like a movie trailer. Was any of this story, it is a fiction, right?
Yes.
Okay, was any of this something you experienced personally, or did this just kind of come out of the sky?
Yeah, so the book, in very vague terms, is about a woman named Joan who's a massage therapist in Vermont, and she's about to lose her job, and she's grieving the loss of her love. And the story came to me, because I got a massage 8 years ago at a spa in Vermont. My husband took me on a surprise birthday trip, and the massage wasn't great. And the woman who was, my massage therapist, I could tell was a little checked out, in her own world. And I have a wild imagination. So the whole time I'm getting this massage, I'm imagining her life, what's going on with her. Am I her fifth massage of the day? What's it like to work at that spa? Is she brokenhearted? And I walked out of there with this story sort of fully forming in my mind and casting her as a character who was about to embark on a long journey to sort of better her life and mend a broken heart.
Was any of the work that you had been doing at WordLift any kind of an inspiration in the sense that you're reading all of these other people's work and you think, hey, I could do that. I could do one better than that. Was there any of that sort of inspiration connected to Superbloom?
It is in that even though I had, my profession was steeped in words, I didn't have the confidence that I could write fiction. It took me a long time to really decide that I was going to start to dabble in it and write some short stories, and then to sort of voice, even as I got that idea at the spa, maybe I could write a novel. And so that sort of confidence and ability to come to that and sort of own it and take that sort of title for myself. I'm an author, I'm a writer. I gave that to Joan, my character, who begins to just discover this hidden dormant passion for writing along the way. So in that way, I sort of gave that to her and then let her run with, pulling that out of herself and claiming that title of writer for herself.
Let me just ask you quickly about Carmen Bronze.
Yeah.
Tell us just briefly about, is that a man or a woman?
It's a woman.
Okay.
She is a famous romance novelist, and she's written 34 books, and she comes to the spa and she wants dirt about the spa. She wants to set her next bestseller there. She's an eccentric, kind of batty character who knows exactly what she wants and sort of scares people away, but also has a lot of tenderness underneath her bravado. And the reader gets to see more of her story arc as the book progresses. And Joan and Carmen at the end have a really unique and lovely friendship, I think.
Is there a movie out there that you might equate similarly to your book?
Yeah, I think the book that broke this open for me, where I saw my voice and my humor, was the book "Where'd You Go, Bernadette" by Maria Semple, which is now a movie as well. And so that sort of humor, cleverness, a bit of a caper, slapstick feeling, but also a lot of tenderness and other things going on just below the surface. So that's sort of what I would comp it to.
And according to your bio, that there is a second book on the way. Is this going to be
Yes.
a follow-up, a sequel, or a completely different story?
It's a different book, and I am so thrilled to be writing my second novel, which I've already sold to Zibby Books. It's a dream come true. Different novel about a mom and daughter who were alpine ski racing champions, and they get stuck in a Swiss town when an avalanche socks in the only way to get in and out of the town. So I'm working on that now, sending a draft to my editor in a few weeks, actually, and I'm having a blast writing it.
I don't know Zibby Books, but are they a full-service publisher?
They are. They're a relatively new imprint. They take 12 books a year. So one book a month is the lead title. My month is May, and I'm having the most incredible experience with my publisher. They're amazing.
Okay, they didn't ask you for a follow-up to Super Bloom?
No, they did not. No, I don't think that's in store, but you never know.
Okay. Could you see a follow-up to it? I mean, I haven't
In
read the
some
story,
ways,
so yeah.
yeah, in some ways I could. I could see Joan sort of embarking on a longer publishing journey. She begins to write. But I don't know. We'll have to see. Let that percolate.
The second book is in the works, almost done, just getting
Yes.
started. Where are
Yes,
you at
almost
with it?
done, almost done. A couple more chapters to go. It's a totally different thing to write under contract. My first book, I was just on my own. And so now I've got deadlines, which, is new, but I also have the support of my agent and my editor, which feels incredible. If I write myself into a corner, I can say help and they give me ideas. And one of the things I love the most about writing is interviewing people. And for Super Bloom, I interviewed a ton of massage therapists around what that work is like. And for this next book, I've been interviewing former Olympians and elite athletes about what it's like to devote your whole life to a sport, and then by age 30, you're done, and what you do after that.
Well, I think that's great homework for doing this
Yeah,
because sometimes people will just write off the cuff and do no research at all because after all, it's fiction, right? So it could be
that's true.
anything you want, but you're sort of putting your footprints in reality a bit, which is great. I think that probably makes for a better book. Just my
I
opinion.
hope so. Yeah, that's my opinion too. I love the stories where you can tell the writer has done some homework and done some research and steeps it in some reality. I wanted to really find out what it's like to be a massage therapist, and I interviewed people from Vermont. I live in Western Massachusetts, so I can go up to Vermont, but I also, what are the things that as a non-Vermonter I don't know? So I got, all that stuff, and I love doing that part of the writing.
Well, on that, Megan, we got to wind this down. We were just out of time. Thank you so much for coming on. The book is called Super Bloom, and my guest is Megan Tady. The book is out, obviously. How long has it been out?
Oh, geez, 2 days.
Oh, two
2 days
days.
only.
Oh,
Yes.
okay. Wow. Well, the reviews are coming in, it looks like, and it looks like it's a smash hit, hopefully.
Yes, let's hope so.
Do you have a website you want to give out?
I do. So you can reach out megantady.com, Tady, and I'm on Instagram at Meg Tady.
Oh, I'm sorry. I was saying Tady, but
Oh, that's okay. That happens all the time.
okay. Megan Tady. All right, Megan. Well, again, thank you for coming on the show. It was nice meeting you, nice chatting with you. Best of luck with the book. Hope it does well.
Thank you so much. Me too. Thank you.